Hi, everybody, and welcome to Persona Interviews, and happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. When Will Haskell was elected to the Connecticut State Senate last year, he was 22 years old, one of the youngest people ever to accomplish that feat. But this week, we thought it would be fun not just to talk to Will, but to talk to his mom, Nancy Aldrich, about how she raised a kid like Will Haskell. Nancy and Will, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
And
coming
happy
over.
Mother's Day to you, Nancy.
Thank you.
Happy Mother's Day.
Well done, Will. So the first thing I really want to ask you, Nancy, it's we've all gotten to know Will in this area over the last few year especially, but some of us for several years. Obviously, a pretty special guy. I think people will agree. I'm sure you'll agree.
Yeah.
As we approach Mother's Day, what was it like? How does one raise a Will Haskell?
Well, I would like to say that I cannot take any credit for how he is, and that he pretty much came out this way. So he has always been an old soul, and I was a single mom. I'm a single mom since he's been 2. So from when he was a very little guy, he was very precocious. Has a negative connotation, but sorry. He was
Not
a
always.
little precocious. I mean, he used to hang out with all of my friends and adults, and my parents and my brothers, and so he was very used to adult conversation. And if he wasn't a part of an adult conversation, he was not happy. So he was in on every adult thing. So he grew up very quickly and expected that he would be able to do anything at any time. Had a lot of confidence from when he was born. He was really born with that, and so anything he set out to do, he didn't think was a big deal, and he was always trying to achieve. My friends would say he's a 30-year-old at age 3, and I don't think he's caught up yet. Pretty soon he'll be 30, and I don't know what he's going to be like when he's 30, but he's always
That's
been
it.
ahead. He's always been jumping ahead to do the next thing, even from when he was little. So, I mean, I didn't have any expectations about him, but he certainly exceeded whatever expectations I had.
Will, during your campaign, you talked about growing up here in Westport. Talk a little bit about your family life and being raised by a single mom. What has your mom meant to you throughout your life, but especially in this last couple of years as you've gone upon this journey of public service?
Well, she's meant so much at every stage. When you're growing up and it's just the two of you, you're really good friends in addition to being a mom and son, right? So I talk to her and get advice every single day. And, she's not somebody who's always been super involved in politics. That's been more my thing. But a few months into the campaign, I realized it doesn't make any sense to just talk about the policy and not connect it to actually why I'm running and what motivates me every day. I made a change in the middle of the campaign to try to be a little bit more transparent about why I was interested in Connecticut politics in the first place, why in the world at 22 I would want to go to the Connecticut State Senate. And a lot of it, frankly, came back to my mom and the experience of growing up with somebody who is the hardest working person I know in a state and in a country that still does not have paid family leave. So I talked about the fact that my mom had to go back to work just 2 weeks after I was born, and that was true for 25% of American moms, but it shouldn't be. I talked a lot about the reasons that people decide to move to a town like Westport and into a community like Fairfield County. It's largely because of our schools. My mom always tells me that when we bought this house, it was because it had access. I could walk to my elementary school, and it was an amazing school. And we need to do more, I think, in Connecticut to preserve our high quality of education and expand that opportunity to everybody.
What did you think, Nancy, when Will first came to you and said, "Mom, I'm just about to get out of college, but I think I'm going to run for office, not just for local office, not just for dog catcher or even board of ed, but for state senate"? What was your reaction to that?
I was very surprised he was doing it so early, and not surprised he might end up in politics, because he's been interested in politics since he's been very young. He went to the New Hampshire primary every year from when he was 4, 8, 12, met all the people, would come home. He went with his dad. That was a love his dad gave to him, is educational stuff on all levels, but one of them was bringing him to primaries, bringing him to inauguration. So I was, interested, but not like them. And he always loved politics, but I never really thought he would do that. I thought he was going to go to law school and follow not so much in his mother or father's footsteps, but certainly not that kind of law. But I was very surprised. But he, as he has done with everything in his life, he sees something where there's an opportunity, and he is fairly driven and strategic in a good way, and so that he could identify that this was the time, and didn't have to convince me because I don't tell him what to do, but he basically said that this is the time for me to try this. Mm-hmm. And he said, and we agreed that it was a good opportunity, and no lose for him. It was a great experience, and lo and behold, he won, which was a surprise to, I think, everyone.
Did you wake up
him
on election day thinking that this was going to happen, that he would win? Because there was obviously a lot of people were wondering, but
yes.
What did you think when you woke up that day?
Well, most people said to me, "Oh, it's great that he threw his hat in the ring, and it's and
win or lose."
Yeah, win or lose, and that was what I was constantly hearing. So as a mother, I'm like,
that sounds like lose.
yeah, I'm not thinking that way. But of course, as a mother, you think your child can do anything, right? So I thought he could win. He could definitely win this. But what I was hearing in the groundswell, obviously, was this was a very difficult race to win. So I had my expectations really low, and I kept telling him, not that I needed to, because I don't. As I said, I don't. I tell him stuff, and he doesn't necessarily follow anything. But that's okay, right? You're not supposed to. But I wanted to keep his expectations super low. So I was saying things like, you're probably going to lose, and what are you going to do, and all that stuff. But inside, I felt he could do it. And, but I was nervous that day. I was very nervous. It was a very exciting but nerve-wracking day.
I remember at the actual election night at the party, you couldn't stop walking around. You couldn't sit down.
I was so nervous, yeah.
We couldn't even see each other. You were so stressed.
Yeah.
I think more stressed than I was.
Will, what do you think people should know about your mom?
So I say that she's not political, and that's not in the traditional sense, right? She doesn't stay up late to watch MSNBC. She's not tracking the impeachment process. But what I've learned over the last few months, and certainly in this new job, is that politics at its core is about helping people. And that's something that I did learn from my mom, more so than anybody else. There's nobody who's more dedicated to serving those around her, whether it's her clients. I can't tell you how many times in the middle of the night she would wake up and rush down to a police station, rush down to somebody's house, be at court with somebody at 8 a.m. These are clients who, some of them had never even paid their bill, but she was always there for everybody. And of course, how she treats her clients pales in comparison to how she treats her family and her friends. She's not just always there for every one of her friends, but of course she's there not just at every concert and at every middle school play, but she has been there every step of the way for me, including when I came to her with the crazy idea that instead of going to law school, instead of getting a job like a responsible adult, I was going to go knock on doors for a few months. She was supportive. So the biggest thing I've learned from my mom, I tell people all the time, is just trying to always be there for others and putting others above yourself, because she does that every single day.
Yeah. And Nancy, what do you think is the one thing that people should know about Will that they don't know from the press coverage and the public appearances and things like that?
That he is the thing that I wanted most for him when he was young wasn't to be, a huge success in terms of his career or his life, but to be happy and be nice. As a parent, you want a child to be happy, but I wanted him to be nice and caring. I don't know why that was so important to me, and involve people in his world, because as a intellectual child and a child that was very interested in all kinds of things, I think you can get lost in the politics or he was very, he had many interests as a child. I mean, he was, he sang from a very early age and he was on stage very early in front of lots of people. So he was very comfortable with that. But I always brought it back to being, kind, humble and kind. And that is I don't know that people know about him, but what you see is who he is. He is really a humble and kind person. And that's what, as a mother, what I most wanted for him. And all the accolades and all the things that I know he has achieved and will achieve are important and really nice, but I'm so proud of him because of the person that he is.
Fantastic. Thank you guys so much. Really enjoyed chatting. Happy Mother's Day, Nancy.
Thank you very much,
Happy
Rob.
Mother's Day. Thanks for coming over, Rob.
Thank
Good
you,
to see
Will. Appreciate it.